Stay tuned for the biggest fish, the hottest bites, this week here on In-Depth Outdoors.
Oh, yes, big walleye! Super taker! Big fish. Oh my goodness. Man, monster pike.
We're headed to the best fisheries across the upper Midwest and Canada. We'll fish longer, explore unfished bodies of water, and go further off the beaten path in search of the hottest bites in fresh water.
Got him. All right.
That's what smallmouth fishing is all about right there.
This is In-Depth Outdoors.
On today's episode of In-Depth Outdoors, we're going to take a look at new ways to fish old baits. And by that I mean, we're going to take a look at how to fish blade baits outside of rivers. I'm guilty of it. When I think of how to fish a blade bait, immediately my mind goes to big rivers like the Mississippi, where I use that bait to target early spring walleyes. So to start our show, we're going to head off to Green Bay. We're going to be fishing smallmouth with Paul Delaney. We're going to be using blade baits in a very specific way. And one of the things that's very interesting about today's show is we were filming it just as Hurricane Sandy was rolling in through the Midwest. So we do get blown off the water, but one of the nice things about that is it gives us the opportunity to relaunch further north later in the month to get out and use this exact same technique on walleyes. So you're going to get a 1-2 punch on this. You're going to see how Paul uses them for smallmouth and how he also uses them for walleye. So stick around. I think you're going to enjoy the show.
There he is. Come on, be a big boy.
He made me look so much better than I really am. You know, because these fish are just nipping at, slashing, grabbing these baits, very often when you feel that first hit and you don't hook up, that fish never felt the point of a hook. He'll come back and hit it again. That there, you know, he's a little bit better than I thought he was going to be. Chunky. There's that gold blade. You know, one thing that's real particular about these blades is they're not glittered, they're not painted. That's actually real gold. Might seem like kind of a small difference. Gold's gold, right? But it really isn't. Nothing gives off shine like real gold. So when it comes to picking baits, picking blades, that's what I look for. I want a blade bait that is plated with real gold. There's a reason people have been digging in the dirt for eons to get their hands on this stuff. There's just something special about it. Just can't be imitated with glitter or paint. And that's the result. Nice bass, chunky guy. Back you go, buddy.
With using this bait on the bottom there, that it's a great resemblance to the goby that's down there, which is a new introduction here to the Great Lakes that the smallmouth bass have been feeding on very heavily and adding a lot of weight to them. Now this particular goby here, right here, is maybe 2 or 3 inches, exactly the same size as the baits that we're using here. Now these gobies do grow a lot bigger, up to 6 inches, but this is a prime example of the size that's real, readily available for these smallmouth bass, and that blade really resembles that creature right there. And these guys live right on the bottom. Very seldom do they come off the bottom. So with that blade bouncing on the bottom, it's a strong resemblance to what these gobies are doing down there. Here's one.
Ooh, now that looks better.
You know how it goes. You just don't ever know. Barely hooked.
Stay hooked up, you fat girl, you.
Yeah, he's not bad.
Nicely done.
We got her. There we go. That's getting a little bit better.
Oh, that's way respectable, Paul.
Yeah, just barely got that. If you look at there, just barely nipped that back hook right there. So yeah, not the biggest fish out there, but a lot nicer, a lot nicer. That is one of God's finest creations right here.
I just love the way when you put those fish on your hand like that, they just fill it right up.
There we go.
I've got one.
All right.
You know, the water clarity here is so high that Paul's always telling us, anytime we come out, need wind, need wind, need wind. We might actually have too much today. That's a fatty.
Real. Boy, he ate that one. He's got that front hook.
Oh, look how fat they are.
A lot of times that's what gives you the weight on the fish, not just the sheer length of the fish, but it's just the girth.
Look at that. That fish, I don't know that would go 18 inches, but it's just a chub. Here's what I like. This view.
Yes.
Buffet style.
I do that all the time to him. Looks like my gut.
So thick. All right, fish, back you go. What do you say, big girl? You ready to go? Yeah.
Okay, we might be able to start making it happen now.
I'm making it happen. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we can't catch them unless we're on them.
Right. Yeah, that fish clobbered it. So typically, is your smallmouth fishing getting better and better and better until you leave mid-November?
You still get the big fish, but your numbers will slow down. This year, things just started off really good early in October.
Yeah, water temp is 51 degrees.
It was up to 54 last week. It was at 51, then it went up to 54. Got him?
Yep.
All right.
Good fish. Stay hooked up, mama.
I'll help you with the net.
Thank you, Paul. Not quite as big as I thought,
Hey,
but a
still
darn
very
nice fish.
respectful. You bet.
That fish was on it so soon in that cast. I had barely started the retrieve, maybe 1 or 2 lifts of the rod, and it was on there. I know that bait wasn't on the bottom yet. Very nice smallmouth.
Love them with all those hooks in their mouth.
Oh, absolutely. Off he goes. We're getting some serious snot here as far as conditions. I mean, 3-4 footers crashing into the shoreline. We're not very far offshore, so we're definitely going to keep working as a team, make sure the boat stays off the rocks, make sure nobody goes over the side trying to net a fish by themselves. But as long as we can be out here safely and the fish keep biting, we're not going anywhere. Want me to push us back up, take another swing at that, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, before something disastrous happens, let's get as many as we can.
Disastrous.
Like Hurricane Sandy come through.
All right, let's take one more poke at it.
We're here, let's do it, yeah.
I don't like it when it's calm.
No.
Fish don't bite.
They don't.
This might be a little bit too much of a good thing, but
You ask for a little wind up here, you get Hurricane Sandy. Just around this point, this is where I caught that other 6-pounder and had some good fish sitting in there.
sure.
I just thought the wind might be bad for it, but we might be able to do it with it. Want to go for it?
Absolutely. Let's
All
make
right.
one more drift through here and go over there.
Okay, then all right, we'll do that.
Twitch it or rip it, summer or winter. B-Fish and Tackle's B3 blade baits come alive with a flick of the wrist. B3 means better. Better wounded bait fish action, better VMC split grip hooks, better patterns and finishes, including real 18-karat gold plate. Try B-Fish and Tackle's B3 blade bait today and see why many anglers consider the B3 the best big fish bait going on water or on the ice. Find them online at bfishandtackle.com before your fishing buddies do.
This just in. Search now over for one suspect found hiding under a brush pile. Suspect was taken into custody and released this afternoon. Officials credit the apprehension to the new Markham underwater camera technology, which found and caught the suspect.
Markham has really taken the lead with their on-screen displays for temperature, depth, and direction, helping you get to the fish quicker.
In other news, a missing walleye was captured today, once again caught red-handed on a Markham camera. Stay tuned for more news from the Markham Underwater Network, where we seek, find, and capture the lake's most wanted.
Everything's just getting louder all of a sudden. Wind and the waves
Right.
crashing and let her blow, we don't care.
Well, she's gone.
Holy,
There's one.
Was that a good one? That was a right proper wave, Paul.
Just a taste of what's to come.
That one basically just washed the back deck and just kept right on going. Hey, it's not every day you can say that you're, trying to get your smallmouth bass fix in before the hurricane rolls in. It is gonna be some kind of ugly tomorrow. 50-mile-an-hour winds. Our plan was to fish 2 days. We're definitely gonna be limited to 1, and we've had hard winds all day long, and I can feel them picking up and increasing on the right side of my face every time I turn this way. We've kind of worked our way back towards the original bay we launched in for obvious reasons. Towards the end of the day here, with these winds picking up, we don't want to be very far from the landing. And Paul keeps catching fish here, so there's no reason to be anywhere else.
There's one.
Ooh, that looks like a good one.
Pretty close to the boat. Just about the last pump before I reeled it in, and he was there. All right. Now there's a chunk.
Nice fish, Paul.
I can't say enough about how much I love throwing these blades. Yeah, nice fish right here, just right at the boat, just about to bring that blade in, and well, let's get this fish back in the water, and I'll kind of explain what we're doing here and what we're looking for, where we're finding these fish here. We're kind of targeting like 25 to 30 foot flat. And in the fall time here, these fish are going to be really, really close to where they're going to be wintering over. So they're going to be feeding on these adjacent flats that are very close to deep water. We've got 100 feet of water right here behind the boat. So what we're looking for are these transition edges of kind of where we go from rock to sand, or 25, 30 feet of water, which is real close to that deep water here where those fish will winter over. So those are kind of the areas that you want to look for when targeting these fall fish here in Door County. There's a lot of different things you can, a lot of different areas you can find these fish, but this is one that works really well. So just look for your flats that are real close to these deep water, and play around with different baits. And hey, I can't say enough about these blades that we're using. They're very effective in the cold water here, and they take a lot of good fish. Got them?
Yep.
All right.
That's good fish.
Better fish, yeah.
Yep.
Let me get the net, James.
This is why we made the run in here. She's a bit bouncy. but the fishing's always worth it. Come here, big mama. There you go. That's it. That's what we're talking about. One little tiny hook point in the corner of the mouth. There we go. That's a nice bass. They're just such thick fish. There's just so much food. I'm sure everybody's looking over my shoulder thinking, hey, it looks a little crazy out there, but we're in this great big skeeter boat. As long as we move around fairly slowly out here, we're gonna be just fine. And rewarded with some super-sized smallmouth. That is a tank.
Great fish.
Yes. All right, buddy. There you go.
I don't get the numbers of fish along here as I do down there.
Yeah.
But
we'll take the quality any
yes.
day. Lots of fish in here, though. I'm looking
Marking
at
them? Yeah.
There he is. How's he feel, Paul?
Pretty decent. You know, he's still out there a ways.
I'm gonna bring you the net anyway. Oh my God. Here we go.
All right.
It's just a big fish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good fish.
Nice.
All right. Yeah.
He woofed it. That's a super fish, Paul.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, not a giant fish, but a nice fish. And like I said, with these wind and waves that we have here, we haven't been able to let those baits sit long. We just got to stay on them, keep the slack out of the line, keep those baits bouncing off the bottom, and we're just coming up and these fish are on it. Well, let's get back at them, James. Let's get us a few more here. Get this guy back in the water.
You know, I know a few people that would really like to be out here with us. I know a whole bunch that are glad they aren't.
That wouldn't, that's right.
I didn't know it was going to be 50-mile-an-hour winds, but I saw it was windy.
And I looked too, and it showed Tuesday, Wednesday, it said blustery. So then I went on to the marine forecast there last night. I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
know,
50 is a serious number.
Yeah, sustained winds of 30. You just feel that wind push on the rod.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of energy there. With a wind like this at our back on the way home, I'll be able to sell somebody diesel when I get to town. Have extra.
So it's at this point of the show where we've got to pull the plug on today's fishing. We're going to get off the water. Sandy is rolling in, kicking up some just ginormous waves. We actually took the time before we did put the boat on the trailer and actually leave the area to go out on one of the pier heads and really get a feel for what Hurricane Sandy was bringing as it rolled through Lake Michigan. As you can see, it was definitely the right call. So when we come back, we're actually going to be about 3 weeks later fishing up on Bay de Noc using this exact same blade bait technique that Paul has shown us for smallmouth, but targeting walleyes.
Hello, I'm Dave Markworth. I'd like to introduce you to the Skeeter Boat Center in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. At the Skeeter Boat Center, we carry the Midwest's largest selection of Skeeter fishing boats, all at prices you can afford. And we offer test drives on most models in stock. Our highly trained staff will provide you the personalized service that you deserve. So check us out at SkeeterBoatCenter.com, where our goal is to help you have fun fishing.
At Skeeter Boats, our passion for turning great ideas into even better fishing boats has produced an unmatched lineup of models intended to fit the way you fish. Like the WX series, designed to handle big water and tough conditions, including the new MX 1825. Built from the ground up to be the ultimate 18-foot fishing boat. And Skeeter Bass Boats, setting the standard for speed and fishability. Skeeter, engineered like no other.
Got him? You bite it pretty good?
Oh, he smoked it.
Nice.
Yep, just waiting for it to fall back down after the third pump, and he rocked it. I'm digging that. If they all hit like that, this is gonna be a lot of fun. It's the 3rd of December, and typically we'd be looking to get out on the ice. Paul and I both, we're sick of waiting for it. This year, the winter's coming so late. Ice has been so slow to come. We just said, forget about it. We're gonna get out here in the boat. Weather's been good. Look at that. That is a beautiful fish. And there, somewhere way back in the mouth of that fish, there's a gold blade bait. He rocked it. Just ate it up. You know, a lot of times when the water gets cold like this, guys start to think you gotta have live bait, but that fish says no. Someone unhooked that fish. We're snapping it pretty hard. We're trying to get a reaction strike out of these fish. That one responded very favorably. Off you go.
Yeah, so that's basically what we're getting here and bigger.
That's basically pretty cool.
Yep, yep. I mean, there is some smaller ones, but that's a good fish. Yeah, that fish ate it, right?
Oh, God, yeah. Nope.
There's a lot of fish like that right now in the system, so the years up and coming are looking really strong for having big numbers of, you know, good year class of fish coming up.
We're going over one right now, Paul. You're starting to see them on the fish finder. They're about a foot off the bottom, you know, more of aggressive position. I don't care how I catch my fish. Trolling, casting, I prefer casting though. So to be able to come out here on a body of water that's traditionally known to be a trolling body of water, It's a nice wrinkle.
It really is. Love to catch fish anyway, but there's something special about setting a hook with a jig stick in your hand and feeling that fish on the end there. It's always fun. So there's many ways of catching them, and you know, a lot of people do troll, and listen, I've got nothing against the trolling. I do a lot of trolling myself, but when we can get out here during the day, sleep at night, and catch fish with a rod in our hands,
sleep at
I'm
night
all
like
about
normal
that.
people?
Yeah.
Fish on!
Got him?
Yep.
All right.
Fish middle of the boat.
Yeah, well, wherever you need to be.
I was back here looking at waypoints and seeing what our drift was doing, and bingo! That little flip. Paul's got this technique down where he's actually starting the rod upward with a little slack in the line, and it seems to make all the difference in this presentation. There we go. You know, we'd love to tell you that we're hand landing these fish because we're such conservationists and we want to make sure the fish are treated well, which of course we do, but the truth of the matter is we forgot the landing net, so we're gonna have to do it by hand all day long. Nicer fish, definitely a female. Certainly not what Bay de Noc can do on the top end as far as, you know, max size on these fish. Paul's actually boated several 15-pound walleyes in his fishing career up here, but that is a very, very nice average size walleye. All right, Paul, why don't you kind of show everyone how you work these baits? Because I think there's some magic there to the way you're doing it.
There is, and like I said, I prefer to throw these baits on the no stretch line as opposed to monofilament, but it's been so cold here over the past week that I've had to use the monofilament, so I'm kind of got used to using the monofilament. So this rod that I'm using here has monofilament on it. What I'm doing is making long casts and allowing this bait to make bottom contact. And you'll know when you make bottom contact, you'll see your line go slack. And what I like to do, I like to hit this bait on a slack line. And what I mean by that is most of my swing up is coming on a slack line. Hit it on a slack line, let it fall back down. Swing up on a slack line and hit that bait. So about 10 o'clock is when I'm hitting that bait. By doing that, I believe that allows that bait to come up and give a jump as opposed to just being pulled right up. So most of the time that rod tip is coming up, it's on a slack line and then it's hitting that bait. I believe that gives it a different action and really triggers those fish into just wanting to kill that bait as opposed to being on a tight line and lifting it, being on a tight line and lifting it. But obviously, you know, you want to play with your presentations and just the fish will tell you what to do, but that's definitely a great tip that I think you guys could use, you know, so the next time you're out throwing blades, practice that. After doing it a while, you'll get a feel for it, and you know, what that's doing is really enabling that bait to just get more erratic as opposed to if you reeled your line tight and pumped it, reeled your line tight and pumped it. The bait's still gonna work, but it's not gonna have that jumpy, flashy, erratic jump to it if you hit it on a slack line.
A pair of innovative designs with proven fish-catching colors. The result, Beefish & Tackle's Authentex plastics. The Moxie, with its thin profile, beefy belly, and long tail, moves and vibrates at slow speeds more than any other plastic on the market today. The perfect cure for cold front walleye. The Pulsar features a paddle tail that twitches and kicks seductively when fished super slow, producing more body movement than any other paddle tail style bait. Find them online at beefishandtackle.com before your fishing buddies do.
Hello, I'm Dave Markworth. I'd like to introduce you to the Skeeter Boat Center in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. At the Skeeter Boat Center, we carry the Midwest's largest selection of Skeeter fishing boats, all at prices you can afford. And we offer test drives on most models in stock. Our highly trained staff will provide you the personalized service that you deserve. So check us out at SkeeterBoatCenter.com, where our goal is to help you have fun fishing.
Twitch it or rip it, summer or winter, Beefish & Tackle's B3 blade baits come alive with a flick of the wrist. B3 means better. Better wounded bait fish action, better VMC split grip hooks, better patterns and finishes, including real 18-karat gold plate. Try Beefish & Tackle's B3 blade bait today and see why many anglers consider the B3 the best big fish bait going on water or on the ice. Find them online at beefishandtackle.com before your fishing buddies do.
Yeah, that slack line, that snap of the rod tip, that's like the opposite of the way we fish them on the Mississippi River, where it's all tight.
More pumping? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you think that's because of the current? Or, I mean, are you preferring to do that because of the current?
I prefer to do this here because the fish like it. I mean, it's just, what do the fish like?
Okay, that's right.
There we go. Oh, there we go.
that might be a better fish.
Is that the one?
It's for sure better. Maybe if you can stick a claw down and grab them.
My hands are cold, but I'll figure it out.
Oop, I just saw a glimpse of it.
There we go. Incoming. Here comes your fish, Paul. Just lip him.
Yeah, no, right. You know, a little bit better than those recent fish that we caught. Not the big trophy that we're looking for here today, but we're gonna stay on them and hope that we see a couple of those bigger fish. But still a great looking fish, very healthy, just a great specimen. So we'll get this one back in, see if we can get one of those big ones.
These fish get pretty confined, or they just spread out on the flat?
No, there's been an area here about 200 yards, kind of right where we're at here, just a little bit east of that can has been the concentration of them. As far as the structure under the water here goes, we're really featureless. This is just a great big mud flat. On the mud here, there's some sporadic weeds that are growing, but basically featureless. It's just an area that fish have been holding. We're real close to an area here where the fish are coming out of the bay, and they'll come up through what they call the narrows here, and then they've just been relating to a big flat area here. So we're not casting or relating to anything specific here. We've got probably 16 to 20 feet of water here, and fish have just been laying around here.
There's fish. Man, did he thump that? Whew. Feels like a decent fish. I mean, not a monster, but solid.
Did he hit it hard?
Yeah, just crushed it. It's a pretty solid fish, bud.
Yeah, not bad.
I mean, he's not a squeaker or anything, but he's just warty. I gotta pick him up on one side. There we go.
Ugly.
That is kind of an ugly fish. It's got some little tumors and growths on him there. I believe that's just a little virus they pick up. It gets under their skin, causes that little growth, but a decent fish. We'll let him go. Man, is that ugly. See you later. He was a wreck. Seen better days, maybe.
You know, I've heard people say, oh, that's due to water quality and stuff, and really it's not true. I've seen that in fish in all different lakes, even up in Ontario and the pristine, clean waters and stuff like that.
No, we get that on the river, we get that Mille Lacs,
yeah.
Particularly around spawn time, it seems.
Believe it or not, they say sometimes they get it through stress. Well, how would a fish get stress? Maybe too much competition, too many fish in an area.
Long hours at work.
You know, it's really nothing really to be worried about on the fish. It's just on their skin.
Sure, sure. I wasn't gonna keep him anyway. He fought like heck.
Yeah.
Hit it the right way. Seemed like a walleye to me.
Oh, he was a walleye.
You want me to take us back up on that path?
All right, what I'll do is I'll just turn right back through.
I can't imagine how hungry I'd have to be to want to keep that fish to eat it.
You mean to drift it back, James?
Sure.
We could, or I can just fish it back.
Sounds good. Just take it back up. Because there was we had 4 fish pretty quick, right around that buoy there.
Yeah, and you caught that one right away, that warthog.
The warthog, I love it. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, man. There we go. Got him? Yep. All right. Come here, sweetheart.
Barely hooked.
Nice. Come there. Here she comes. Nice blade bait fish there. Exact same bait that Paul's been making famous all day. That's that 1/2 ounce B fishing tackle, B3 blade bait, gold plate. I think that's really what makes that bait kind of special. There's just not very many companies out there that put real gold on baits. Just got a real special shine to it. Nice fish. These are the males that Paul's talking about. What we're looking for is a nice herd of females to go with all these males we're catching. Off it goes. You know, it's real interesting. I fish through the area with plastics, and it just goes to really illustrate the difference in presentations. That plastic, even though I was snapping it, just doesn't have the triggering effect that these blade baits do. There's just not as much vibration and as much flash. So even though you're fishing in the same area as your buddy, you know, those 2 different baits, even in the same color pattern. I was fishing a kind of a gold metallic flake plastic, and even that wasn't doing it. I come up here to the front of the boat with my buddy Paul, 6 casts, and I got a fish in the boat already.
Well, you know, especially under these conditions here when the fish aren't real active, you know, they're just reacting to that bait being in front of them, you know, it's just that, and they're just trying to get it out of their face. Well, we hooked like 3 or 4 there in that little bit.
Yeah, real quick.
There's one, there we go, right there, very next cast, James.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that one's bearing down a little bit.
Yeah, you know, and especially with running this monofilament on those far casts, it's hard to tell. You know, they shake their head. But no, it's feeling like a little bit better fish.
Since we're hand landing fish today, you wanted to swing them back to me?
Sure, that would be great.
I'll do my best. I'll make no promises.
We'll get what we got.
Oh no!
So sad.
Well, that happens.
All we wanted to do was see it.
Yeah. You know, and there's nothing wrong with those hooks. They're sharp, and you know, those walleyes, they just don't have a lot of meat in their mouth. You know, it's all bone and teeth, and that's the important of keeping pressure on them.
You did everything right, man.
So thanks for tuning in to today's show. I really hope you enjoyed some of the information that was shared. I mean, I have to admit it. I'm one of those anglers that's as guilty as anybody about looking at a particular lure and pigeonholing it. When I think of the blade bait, I think of spring river walleyes, and after you've watched today's show, obviously it need not be that case. So as anglers, we always need to be looking at the tools that we have at our disposal and finding new ways to put them to use. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
For more info on the latest fish reports, gear recommendations, and hottest techniques, connect with us online at indepthoutdoors.com or follow us on Facebook at In Depth Outdoors. And if you enjoyed today's show, be sure to let our sponsors know.